To make sense of an incredibly complex world, our brains use a built-in shortcut. We take continuous, flowing streams of information and chop them up into neat, manageable boxes. It helps us remember things and process data faster. Think about how we look at a rainbow. The colors actually blend in a seamless gradient. A major problem with doing this. When we draw thick, heavy lines between categories, we develop tunnel vision. We immediately overemphasize the differences between the boxes and completely lose sight of how similar the edges actually are. We miss the big picture. It is a great trick for remembering a color wheel, but when we apply that same rigid, categorical thinking to the messy reality of human biology and behavior, it becomes a dangerous trap that destroys all the nuance. History is full of researchers who attempted to find a single, isolated explanation for why we do what we do. By ignoring the interconnected nature of biology, these efforts resulted in systemic failures that stalled our understanding for decades. Take the founder of behaviorism, John Watson. He became convinced that environmental control was the only thing that shaped human behavior, completely ignoring the existence of any biological influence in the process. Or look at Egas Moniz. He developed a pathological reliance on a single surgical method, the frontal lobotomy, treating it as a blanket cure for complex mental disorders that involve the entire brain. Then there is Konrad Lorenz, who forced behavior into the rigid constraints of genetic and racial categories, discarding the profound impact of a person's environment and development. Each of these figures relied on a singular explanation for human behavior, failing to recognize that our actions are products of an interconnected biological web. To avoid these traps, we have to stop looking at scientific disciplines as separate territories and instead analyze a single action by working our way backward through time. Let's start right at the finish line, the exact moment an action happens. A hand twitches, a word is spoken. To understand why, we trace the timeline back. First, we look at the immediate triggers. Just milliseconds before the behavior, specific neurons fire and brain chemistry shifts. This is the domain of neuroscience. But what caused those neurons to fire? We zoom out a few minutes or hours prior to look at the environment. What specific sensory stimuli primed the nervous system to react that way? Pushing further back into days, months, or years, we track the hormonal changes, the developmental history, and the genetic instructions that built this individual's unique biological baseline. Finally, we jump back millennia to explore the deep evolutionary history. The physical environments of our ancient ancestors shaped the genetic foundation for the entire species. Explaining a single action requires bridging the gap between a single neuron firing in a fraction of a second and the evolutionary changes occurring over millions of years. Zoom Level 1 and Zoom Level 4 exist as part of a single, integrated timeline. These scientific fields function as a continuous biological web rather than isolated categories. When we apply this integrated lens to our own species, things get complicated. Human behavior presents three distinct challenges for biologists. The first challenge is recognizing exactly when our seemingly advanced behavior is functionally identical to what other animals do. Take the Wellesley effect. Researchers discovered that human menstrual cycles can synchronize among women living in close quarters through unconscious olfactory signals. It is a biological response seen all across the mammalian world. The second challenge is identifying when we take those shared biological responses and deploy them in ways no other animal would. We share the same physiological stress systems as primates, systems evolved to keep us alive during a physical chase. Yet humans will trigger that exact same panic over abstract concepts like economic insecurity or the fear of our own mortality. Finally, the third challenge is recognizing what is unique to us. Some actions, like non-reproductive sexual behavior or our forms of emotional communication, are unparalleled in the animal kingdom. Human behavior exists as a multi-layered reality that defies singular explanations. To truly understand ourselves, we must move past the comfort of categories and adopt a fully integrated biological perspective.